Good evening, everyone. Now let us discuss what is observation checklist. So, observation checklist is a checklist that is structured to watch someone perform a task or activity. So, it's like a detailed scoreboard that helps you evaluate their performance based on specific preset criteria. So, this means that you are not just giving a general opinion, but you are looking for specific behaviors or skills. So the structured part means it follows a clear, organized approach, and the predefined criteria ensures that everyone is judged by the same standards. So why we use observation checklist? So the main goals are to provide objective feedback, so meaning it's fair and unbiased. Identify both strengths and weaknesses, and track progress over time. So think of it as a tool to help someone improve by giving them clear, actionable information about their performance. Observation checklist has four purposes. First is structured feedback. So why it's important? So the purpose here is to give feedback that is specific, objective, and directly related to what someone is supposed to be learning or doing. So it's not just saying good job or needs improvement. It's about pointing out exactly what they did well or where they need to focus their efforts. So feedback is tied to predefined academic or performance criteria, so it's clear and relevant. For example, imagine a professor is teaching an undergraduate course. So they want to know if they're explaining things in a way that students can understand. So the checklist item could be clearly explains complex concepts with relevant examples. So this means someone observing the professor would check if they use real-world examples to help students grasp difficult ideas. So this helps the professor understand if they are being effective in their explanations. The second one is the performance evaluation. So this is about figuring out how well someone is teaching, how engaged the students are, or how successful a program is overall. So it serves two main purposes. First, formative, and the second one is summative. So for the formative, this is for the improvement. So it's like getting feedback during a practice. So you can adjust, or the student can adjust the technique before the real game. So the summative is for assessment. So it's like the final grade on a report card. It shows overall achievement of the student. So example, let's say a teaching assistant or TA is leading a discussion section. So the goal is to see if they're creating a good learning environment for the students. So that in the checklist item, it could be facilitates inclusive discussions, ensuring all students have an opportunity to participate. So this means the observer is looking to see if the TA encourages everyone to share their thoughts and ideas, not just a few dominant students. The last one is performance tracking. So it's about monitoring academic or performance progress over time. So it helps identify trends and improvements or potential areas of concern. By tracking someone's performance across different courses or settings, you can see if they're consistently improving or if they're struggling in certain areas. So example, a student's progress in writing skills throughout the school year. So in the checklist item, it could be uses proper grammar and sentence structure in written assignments. So by tracking this over time, the teacher can see if the student's writing skills are improving, staying the same, or declining. So this helps them tailor their instruction to meet the student's specific needs. Now let's talk about the three components of an observation checklist. First is specific skills and behaviors. Second one is binary options. And the third one is the rating scales. For the first one, the specific skills or behaviors, these are the core of any checklist. So instead of vague ideas, you need a list of specific, clearly defined, and observable skills or behaviors. So this makes the evaluation objective and focused. Observable means that anyone watching should be able to see whether the person is doing it or not. Example, let's say you're evaluating someone's presentation skills. So instead of just saying good communication, you would break it down into specific actions. First, makes eye contact with the audience for at least 5 seconds at a time. The second, speaks clearly and loudly enough for everyone to hear. Then another one uses hand gestures to emphasize key points and avoids using filler words like or So in that way, the observer can observe the behaviors or the skills that is specific. So you can give targeted feedback and focus on the specific behaviors. So instead of just saying improve your communication, you can say try to make more eye contact with the audience or work on reducing the number of ums in your speech. The second component is the binary yes or no options. So this is the simplest type of checklist. For each skill or behavior, the observer simply marks yes if they saw it or no if they didn't. It's a straightforward way to record whether something happened or not. So when to use binary options? So this is best for basic assessments where you just need to know if a particular action occurred or not. So example, imagine a checklist for a student performing a science experiment. First, wore safety goggles. So you can check if the student performed or wore safety goggles. So you can mark or you can check the yes, or if not, no. Another one, followed all instructions and cleaned up the workspace. So simply the observer will check if a particular action occurred. So there are pros and cons of binary options. So for the pros, so it is easy to use, yes, and it is quick to complete, and also it provides clear and objective data. But for the cons, it doesn't capture the quality or frequency of the behavior. So it only tells you if it happened or not. One is the rating scales. So rating scales allow for a more nuanced evaluation than simple yes or no options. So they provide a range of options to indicate the level of performance or frequency of a behavior. So there are types of rating scales. First, numerical scales, descriptive scales, and frequency scales. So for the numerical scales, you have to use numbers to represent different levels of performance. Example, 1 to 5, 1 to 7, or 1 to 10. So you need to define what each number means. So example of numerical scales, a scale 1 to 5 for clarity of speech. So 1 stands for very unclear, 2 sometimes unclear, 3 generally clear, 4 clear and easy to understand, and 5 exceptionally clear and engaging. The second scale is descriptive scale. So it uses words to describe different levels of performance. So example, a scale for preparation for class. So it could be, in the scale, we have not observed, needs improvement, meets expectations, and exceeds expectations. Then the last one is frequency scales. So So it indicates how often a behavior occurs, or behavior are the skill occurs. So example, a scale for student participation. So we have rarely, sometimes, often, and always. So we have pros and cons for frequency scale. So the pros is that it provides more detailed and nuanced feedback. So it allows for a better understanding of the quality or frequency of a behavior. But for the cons, it can be more subjective than binary options. It requires clear definitions of each point on the scale to ensure consistency among observers. Now, how to use observation checklist. So first, clearly define the task. So ensure that everyone understands the objectives. Second, checklist as agreed. Suggest a structured layout for easy recording. Third, presence or absence of skills. Refers to the binary or the yes or no approach. Next, measuring consistency. So it implies using frequency scales or repeated observations. Next, regular updates highlights the need to keep the checklist relevant. And the last one is video assistance. So it suggests using video recordings for more detailed analysis. To build a good checklist, we have to consider key skills and behaviors. So we have to focus on the most important elements. Then, scoring system. So defines how performance will be evaluated. Third, additional notes section. So you have to add or consider the additional notes section. So it allows for qualitative observations. Then the last one is context specific. So tailor the checklist to the specific situation. In education, checklists are used to track student progress towards specific learning outcomes or objectives. So this helps teachers monitor student development and identify areas where students may need extra support. So checklists can be used for individual students or for tracking the performance of groups during collaborative activities. But before using a checklist, explain to students what information will be gathered and how it will be used. Promotes transparency and helps students understand the expectations. So this reinforces the benefits of open communications. So there are advantages and disadvantages of observation checklist. For the advantages, it tracks progress, so it monitors development over time. Next, it multiple observers, so increased reliability through inter-rater agreement. Then, specific areas of development. It identify targeted areas for improvement. And also, it is quick and easy. So, it is an efficient assessment tool. Then the last one, it highlights strengths and weaknesses. So, it provides a balanced view of performance. For the disadvantages, we have lack of rich detail, so may miss nuanced aspects of performance. Next, it focuses on norms, so it can overlook individual differences. Then, it risks of focusing on deficits, so it may emphasize weaknesses over strengths, and also it requires ongoing maintenance to stay relevant.